I often refer to something called the upside down test, which is me visualizing myself creaking back and forth from the rafters in an imaginary drawing room with a pen in my pocket. Does the pen survive? That's one of the key questions we ask on Panda Pen Club intermittently. Welcome back to Panda Pen Club, the YouTube channel where we hunt down and sniff out the most interesting and fabulous fountain pens on the planet. Today's video is entitled Dear Dave. Dave is a friend of mine. I've known him half my life. I heard from him recently and he asked me what fountain pen I'd recommend for a starter pen. So this is the Panda Pen Club Top 5 rundown of starter fountain pens. This isn't a list of budget fountain pens per se. Value for money is part of the equation. And the other crucial part of the equation is a quality I think is essential in starter fountain pens. That quality is charm. If you're just beginning in the hobby, or if you're getting back into the hobby after a long and ill-advised break, you want a fountain pen that's going to chat you up and treat you right. These are pens that are going to charge you up with enthusiasm for writing by hand with gorgeous fountain pens. The prices are the prices I found online at the time of uploading this video. These may change. If you find any better prices, please let me know in the comments. As well as quality and charm, I've tried to make sure that the pens on this list are readily available. Let's get started. Number 5, the Lamy Safari. Lamy is an iconic German manufacturer known for producing iconic designs, as well as the occasional dud. The model they're most lauded for is the Bauhaus design classic, the Lamy 2000. I think there is a case to be made for the Lamy Safari to be up there in the iconic bracket as well, in terms of its design. And I do not use the word iconic lightly. The pen is made of some sort of plastic. It's available in a myriad array of stunning color combinations which ensure you do not necessarily have to purchase the same shade of nightmare pink as me. Metal features of this pen are restricted to the nib and the clip, meaning that this pen weighs in at a fairly nimble 17 grams. The clip is the first feature of this pen that your eye will be drawn to. It's like one of those giant paper clips. Do you remember that little paper clip on Microsoft Word? Little assistant that used to piss everybody off. It's a little bit like one of those, except it has a ski ramp shooting off at the front of it, which enables you to conveniently put it into your pocket without fumbling around and prizing it about with your carefully kept fingernails. And because it's rather long, it will sit there securely. I often refer to something called the upside down test, which is me visualizing myself creaking back and forth from the rafters in an imaginary drawing room with a pen in my pocket. Does the pen survive? That's one of the key questions we ask on Panda Pen Club intermittently. At the top of the pen, you'll find this little black circle with this little inexplicable cross in the middle of it. This part of the pen is often referred to as the finial. Shooting downwards, we have a little porthole, and we have another little porthole, rather like you might get on a submarine. On the shaft of the pen, you have also the words Lamy, and you have two curved surfaces and then sheer slices, these flat surfaces, which are rather striking. The bottom of the pen, the lower finial, is matte as opposed to sheeny, shiny plastic with a little dimple where you can put your finger if it's feeling in need of comfort. You'll often hear people talking about posting their fountain pens. This doesn't mean putting them in the mail. This means putting the cap on the rear end. Because this pen is quite light, you won't need to give a thought to the balance of the pen when posted. It won't impact the comfort of the pen in your hand. The writing experience of the Lamy Safari is entirely dictated by these flat surfaces sliced into the grip, which you will commonly hear referred to as the section. Surely every part of it could be referred to as the section, but no, it's this bit where you hang on to it, where you grip the pen. These slices are intended to facilitate the nurturing of a triangular or tripod grip. They're trying to get you to hold the pen properly. And of course, there's no way to properly hold a fountain pen. It's whatever suits you and enables you to write with joy. Some people find this useful at first. Other people find it immensely frustrating to have their grip dictated like this. And the grip on the Lamy Safari is definitely fairly prescriptive, but not unhelpful. It's a pretty integral feature of this pen, so it's important you're aware of that. It writes beautifully with a little bit of feedback, aka rhythm, transmitted back to you from the page. It's not the same as the pen catching or feeling scratchy. It's smooth, and that doesn't impede the writing experience. The other thing to know is that there is a sustained flow of ink. You can write as fast as you like, and this pen is going to keep up with you, assuming you have ink in it and haven't left it uncapped for too long and things like that. The nib comes in a variety of options, all of them easily found online for the Lamy Safari. There's an Amazon link in the description, but you can buy these all over the place. Lamy uses proprietary cartridges, which hold about 1.3 milliliters of ink, or will take Lamy's Z27 or Z28 cartridge converters. These hold a little bit less ink. A converter is a reusable cartridge that you fill from a bottle. Personally, I strongly recommend you get one of these and a bottle of ink, because it's a lot more fun. Having said that, cartridges are of course totally convenient and totally a-okay if that is what you want to do. The key thing to note is the proprietary thing. You'll need to buy and stick with Lamy cartridges when using this pen. Also, be aware that there is a pricier alternative which looks identical to the Lamy Safari. It's called the Lamy All-Star. This costs a little bit more, and what do you get for that? You get an anodized aluminium body, which is very light, and you get a translucent section which allows you to perv over the ink level, which is of course thrilling. Is it worth it? That's up to you. The Lamy Safari. The best choice of fountain pen if you're looking for a gentle introduction and maximum peace of mind. Number 4, the Pilot Kakuno. In my estimations, we have another design classic on our hands with the Pilot Kakuno. It comes from storied Japanese manufacturer Pilot. They make pens across the whole spectrum of uses, purposes, and grades of luxuriousness. They have another model called the Metropolitan, which is priced at a not totally different level to the Kakuno, and the Metropolitan is one you'll more commonly see on lists of starter fountain pens. The Kakuno has considerably more charm in my book. Add to that, it's cheaper. The nuts and bolts of the writing experience are much the same. It is easier to track down. At least I have found that to be the case. In my view, it's just a much more interesting pen. Now, why am I such a fan of the Kakuno? Why would I go out on a limb for this little demented darling? First thing you might think when I'm holding this up and you're looking at it is, oh, it's a kid's pen. It's a pen for kids. It's a kid's pen, it's a kid's pen, it's a kid's pen. Well, stop that. Yeah, it is a bit. Or it's a pen for people who are around kids. Think of it that way. The reason you know it's explicitly intended as a kid's pen are the little holes in the upper and lower finials. And they are there in case your darling little creature swallows it. I assume this has been tested rigorously. I can't actually vouch for whether it works, but those are the purpose of these little holes at either end. Design following function is a lovely thing to witness when you come across it, and there are many little touches on this pen that cleave to that idea. This lovely sort of this depression in the top of the cap, which is there to help you grip onto it and pull it off. Very simple little touch, but it's just nice to have that. The pen is hexagonal in shape, in the absence of a traditional clip, presumably because a traditional clip is liable to be yanked off and consumed as a tasty little morsel by whatever feral creature you're incubating in your home. So in lieu of a clip to stop it rolling around on your desk, we have the hexagonal design, and we also have this little ledge there to act as a secondary roll stop. Belts and braces with the Pilot Kakuno. Other things that might make this seem like a kid's choice pen are the charming font in which the word Kakuno is spelt out on the cap, and some of the colour schemes and combinations, particularly the pastel combinations, which might remind you of colours you've painted your baby's bedroom. There are more conservative colour options available as well if you're operating in an environment that calls for maximum sobriety at all times. Last but not least, there is a little smiley face on the nib. And this is there so the kid who's learning to write using this pen can tell that they're holding it the right way up. The word kakuno, of course, means to write in Japanese. I'm not sure why I say of course, I had to look that up. The writing experience is precise, with a reliable flow of ink. The nibs, of course, are Japanese, so they're a bit narrower than those on the Lamy. An F on the Lamy is going to be closer to an M on the Pilot. My preference, if that's of any interest to anyone at all, is a Pilot M and a Lamy F. The section of the kakuno in translucent grey, where you grip, is formed into a little triangle, but it's much softer and gentler and less prescriptive than the Lamy Safari's grip. And it's actually one of the reasons I rank this pen a little higher than the Safari. It's more pleasant to write with on account of this grip. Same as the Lamy, be aware you need to buy proprietary cartridges, Pilot Namiki cartridges, and or cartridge converters. If you want a converter for your kakuno, you're probably going to want to look for the Con 40, although new kakunos also fit Pilot's larger and more expensive Con 70 converter, which obviously gives you a bit more ink. This is the best pen for those among you who want to engage your inner sense of childlike wonder and your creativity when writing. Number 3 on the Panda Pen Club rundown, the TWSBI Eco. Now heads up, this is the most expensive pen on this list. TWSBI do a cheaper model called the Go. I'll review it sometime soon. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, by the way, do consider hitting that subscribe button to avoid missing any of our future videos. TWSBI is a long-running Taiwanese manufacturer. They're an OEM manufacturer, which means they made pens on behalf of bigger companies who didn't want to do the manufacturing themselves. TWSBI is them branching out on their own and producing under their own brand name. Be aware, although they're Taiwanese, they're using German Yovo nibs. Yovo is, in fact, written Jowo. Joe! Whoa! Joe? Whoa. Is any of those good? Joe? Whoa! Joe. Whoa. Isn't pronunciation incredible? Anyway, the point is TWSBI equals Taiwan, TWSBI nibs equals Germany. Now I'm going to back up and start at square one, but I just want to say right off the bat, the nib on the TWSBI Eco is really nice. Really nice indeed. A few other big differences between this pen and all the others on this list. It's a piston filler. That's probably the biggest. That means it does not take cartridges or cartridge converters. Ink is stored in the shaft of the pen itself. You can probably see it right here. You'll need to buy a bottle of ink, but you won't need to buy any cartridges. And of course, you get a massive ink capacity, about 2.5 times some of the pens on this list. So swings and roundabouts. You'll fill the pen by dipping the nib and part of the section into your bottle of ink and twisting the piston knob, which is at this end of the shaft. This will move the plunger inside the pen down, away from you, towards the nib, pushing air out of the shaft. Twisting the other way, it'll draw the piston plunger towards you, away from the nib of the pen, drawing ink into the reservoir. This also rather neatly points up the fact that a fountain pen is, at its very essence and core, a carefully controlled leak. We had to have a piston filler on this list. With the Eco, you'll see all this mechanical, fascinating business going on because the TWSBI Eco is also a demonstrator pen. You'll often hear the term demonstrator. It means the pens are transparent to some extent, so you can see right inside. And in the Eco's case, you can see the ink sloshing around in there. This is pleasant. It's soothing. And if you find yourself worried by this as opposed to hypnotized by all the ink, you'll be pleased to learn that this pen is also a screw cap. The previous two pens were friction fit. This is much more secure. Some people will find that reassuring. I did a review of the TWSBI Eco up against the Lanbi To 3059 a little while back. the Lambito offers a cheaper, much cheaper alternative to the TWSBI Eco with a very similar look and not a bad writing experience at all. If you want to know more about the Eco and indeed the Lambito, check out the comparison review. You'll find it linked at the end screen of this video. The writing experience, I'd call the sensation plush, soft, ruddy, delectable. It's borderline dreamy, reliable, solid. The TWSBI Eco is number 3 on our list. The best option for the tinkerers and adventurous travellers amongst you. Number 2, offering a magic combination of value and charm that's essential when you're first embarking on this marvellous and enriching hobby. The Hongdian 6013. This pen is so cool. And I think price-wise it's a steal as well. Unlike all the preceding pens on this list, it's all metal. On the top of the upper finial, you have the manufacturer name and model number. It's a nicely proportioned pen, yet weighty. In fact, it's built like a tank. The matte grip that covers most of the section is both functional and practical and also just really comfortable in the hand. And that utilitarian sort of vibe contrasts brilliantly with this swirling, hurtling design where you would normally have a cap band at the bottom of the cap. The clip is excellent. You can operate it by pulling it out at the lower end or just about pushing at the upper end to open it. It's a really nice touch that compounds this pen's aura of quality. This is also a screw cap pen. It opens in 2 and a bit turns as opposed to the 1 and a bit turns on the Eco, for example. Like most Chinese pens, it comes with a cartridge converter rather than normal cartridges, but it will take standard international cartridges rather than the proprietary cartridges taken by Lamy or Pilot. This offers flexibility and will save you money. And in fact, it may also save you the not insignificant cost of buying a converter at some point. Another interesting feature of this pen is that the nib has no breather hole. This is somewhat unusual and it's worth pointing out. The writing experience is superb. The nib in itself is quite rigid, but there's a really excellent ink flow. And this gives the writing experience a sort of softness, which is really pleasant. Their F nib is the same as or possibly a little wider than the Lamy F. Last thing to mention about the nib is it's all black. The Hongdian 6013 is a stealth pen. This is another piece of terminology you will hear occasionally. It means that the pen is all black. The Hongdian 6013, number 2 on our list, because it epitomizes that charm I was talking about. Number 1, the moment we've all been waiting for. Number 1 on the Panda Pen Club rundown of starter fountain pens. The Jinhao 450, or the Jinhao X 450. Jinhao is a Chinese fountain pen manufacturer of much longer standing than Hongdian. And the 450 is number 1 on this list because it offers really incredible value. Spend a little time with it and you'll find it offers really enormous charm as well. It's by far the cheapest pen on this list. It's a traditional cigar-shaped pen, all metal like the Hongdian. It's available in a spread-eagled array of colours from red, which is my favourite, to green ice flowers, luxury gold powder paint, red ice, grey marble, green marble, and presumably perhaps white lightning. You can also get this in an entirely conservative, darker option. Perhaps the clip might look a little cheap to you if you look at it really intently and up close, but I'm not sure what else. The bands around the cap, the lower finial and the upper finial, as well as the clip, are gold coloured. You'll hear these bits sometimes referred to as the pen's furniture by pen enthusiasts. So as in the Jinhao has gold coloured furniture. The brand and model number are written on the cap band. It's friction fit. Like the Hongdian, it's supplied with a cartridge converter and also takes standard international cartridges. If you go with the converter and you get a red one, it's really lovely to fill with diamine oxblood ink. Just a personal preference. It's a noticeably bigger nib than the previous 4 pens. It writes beautifully. The reason it's number 1 on this list is I enjoy using this pen the most. It has copious ink flow. Like the Lamy and the Pilot, the grip of this section offers a degree of guidance as to how to position your fingers It's also indented or incorrugated or wrinkled, which offers a little bit of additional grip and maneuverability. If you're dead set against grip guidance like this, then you may want to check out its brother or sister pen, the Jinhao X750, which is very similar. The differences are marked up in another review we've done, but it also offers a rounded section, which you may prefer. I return to this one all the time. Each and every one of us is different. It's part of what makes the world wonderful. Did I miss something? Do you have a #1 pen you would recommend? If so, please let me know in the comments below this video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to Panda Pen Club on YouTube. And when you click subscribe, please click the bell as well. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.